Welcome back. I've made no secret of my contempt for the politics of Speaker Ryan and his like-minded band of rhinos in the House and the Senate. Just as Ryan has made no secret about his disdain for the national interest, our working families, our middle class. Ryan's chief appeal to his corporatist masters seems to be his puppyish eagerness to please the power brokers of the establishment and the moneyed marauders who infest K Street, and his passionate pursuit of open borders and cheap illegal immigrant labor. He, of course, was no fan of defined benefit programs, pensions, which he saw as an awful, terrible, unfair burden on corporate America's international competitiveness. Ryan embraced instead 401ks and didn't blink at the yawning gap in the value of pensions versus 401ks. Nor was Ryan a fan of those employer health care benefits for employees. Again, he lamented the loss of market competitiveness that resulted. And now Ryan, who wants to further free working families and our middle class from other benefits by cutting entitlements like Social Security and Medicare, wants to pass a bill he calls a compromise bill on immigration. Compromise, really? Obviously, his masters are desperate now to keep our border with Mexico wide open. So many depend on the $30 to $40 billion of remittances from foreign nationals who work in this country illegally to their families and their home nations, most often Mexico. And the cartels bring in nearly $70 billion back to Mexico from their shipments of cocaine and marijuana and heroin and methamphetamine to mostly young Americans whose lives are destroyed by addiction. And the cartels are also the driving force behind illegal immigration. No one wants to tell you that, do they? Smuggling hundreds of thousands of illegals into the United States each year. And as millions of illegal immigrants arrived in America over the past 2 decades, they have cut the wages of hard-working American citizens with whom they really do compete. But of course, that was the design of Ryan's masters all along. And all the more reason that Ryan and the rhinos have fought against President Trump's wall. In the latest omnibus spending bill, Ryan allotted $1.6 billion for general border security, but not a dime to build a wall. He even prescribed against such a wall. And Ryan wasn't content with that insult to the president. He actually cut the number of ICE agents to enforce immigration law internally. President Trump is already a historic president. No president has ever done more than he has in a year and a half. Mr. Trump's accomplishments are a testament to his intellect, to his talents, and also his extraordinary patience. Why he tolerates the buffoons of his party's Capitol Hill leadership is a complete and utter mystery to me. Whether the lame duck speaker, who is more than willing to kill the Republican Party's chances of preserving their majority in the midterm elections, or Leader McConnell, who persists in refusing to kill the 60-vote rule in the Senate. Mr. President, I would hope you'd tell the Speaker and the leader you no longer need their approval. You don't need their precious time, that there is no grand bargain to be had with these arrogant fools. Besides, you've already made a grand bargain with all of us deplorables, as you called us all last night in South Carolina, the super elites now. We're your supporters, the men and the women forgotten by 3 presidents who preceded you. Your supporters want no deal on amnesty in order to secure the border. We want no quid pro quo, no more false choices offered up by globalist elites and their lackeys, and certainly no false choice between national security or amnesty for millions who've broken our laws. Ryan and McConnell have senselessly obstructed your presidency for a year and a half. Americans are tired of the establishment's efforts to slow roll your presidency, as you constantly and consistently take on every challenge, take on every adversary, and lead. You've spoken before of using the military to build that wall in the interests of national security. So please, Mr. President, build the wall, whether with the Army's Corps of Engineers or contractors like Bechtel or Boeing or the Navy Seabees. The Seabees motto, Mr. President, you'd have to love. It is Construmus Bacimus. We build, we fight. Does that sound familiar, Mr. President? And The Fighting Seabees, by the way, is a great movie, starring, appropriately, John Wayne. You've done a lot, Mr. President. It's your era. This is your time. And America is with you.